Welcome to Blending the Family, the podcast. Topics can range from finding your faith, dating after divorce, and mental health. Warning, you're about to listen to a conversation, not an interview. Here's your host, whose inner child is still his outer child, Tommy Maloney.
Welcome to another edition of the podcast. This podcast is known as Blending the Family. I am your host, Tommy Maloney, coming to you from beautiful British Columbia, specifically Prince George, British Columbia. And as I look outside my window, as I look outside the partly sunny day, the gorgeous, beautiful day, even though the area is but if you look past the and you see the treetops and you see the beautiful skies, it is a gorgeous, gorgeous day to be above ground. If you ever talk to me and you say, "How are you doing?" I'm going to tell you straight up, it's a day above ground. It's a good day. Okay? All right? You with me? You feeling me? You picking up what I'm throwing down? How are you? Whew. I've had a couple cups of coffee. I'm feeling really good. Been doing some reading. Oh my gosh. I don't know where to begin other than this. Let me start off with here. All right, this is part two. This is part two with our guest, Johnny Nomad, a.k.a. Johnny Nomad Presents. I was actually on his podcast, Johnny Nomad Presents. And I've taken the audio, divided up into 2 episodes. So this is episode 2, and I hope you enjoy episode 2. But I just want to say very quickly before we get into the episode, hope you're doing well. I just hope you're doing well. You know, I'm just fired up. If you're not aware, maybe I haven't mentioned this yet, but I've got 3 podcasts going on right now. This one, Blending the Family. The other one is, and I'm going to put this in the show notes. I'm going to put the links in the show notes. The other one's called Two Stupid Freaking Guys with my good friend John, who you hear him. He's the voice guy. He's the opening. He's got a better voice than I do on this. So he and I have our own podcast. Again, it's Two Stupid Freaking Guys. You can hear that one on Anchor FM. Again, I'll put that in the show notes, that link. The other one is called the Tommy Maloney Podcast, which is another podcast. Obviously, you idiot. Me being an idiot. Yeah, it's another podcast. Anyway, that's the one I do as I travel. So you'll hear the sights and sounds of me in airports or walking around airports. Or this latest episode, I finished it up recording here in the hotel. I need to give a shout out to the Courtyard. That's where I'm at, right? It's a Marriott. I'm at a Marriott. Marriott, well, they've changed it now to Boinvoy. Anyway, here in Prince George, I have to give a shout out to the Marriott Hotel here. It's a newer hotel, and I get that, but it's gorgeous. It's beautiful. The staff is awesome, and I wish, because I'm working a second shift for the dreaded day job, so I go in at like 3:30. And by the time I get back, I would like an adult beverage. I wish the bar was open. Just have 1 glass of wine before I go to bed. But anyway, I've gone with my rules, and this has really helped that no drinking during the week. So I'm doing really good on that. I'm proud of myself. You know what? I'm going to pat myself on the back. There we go. Pat myself on the back. All right. So we've talked about the podcast. We talked about Johnny Nomad, part 2. Who I love. He's just one of my heroes, and here's why. He puts out a lot of content. So follow him on the Instagram. He has a YouTube channel. You'll see that in the show notes. Oh my gosh, I'm waiting for the day, which is it's going to happen. I know it's going to happen. He's going to be on like Good Morning America or the Today Show or one of the night shows. I don't know. I don't watch any of that stuff. But I know he's going to be hitting it big. He really, really is. So please check out his podcast. Again, it's Johnny Nomad Presents, his YouTube channel, which again, I'll just put everything in the show notes. I don't have a lot to say. It's I'm getting to the point where it's Wednesday and I'm getting antsy. I'm ready to go back home. I'm ready to go home. Long holiday weekend, and I know I've got a lot of yard work to do, which I'm fine with. By the way, it snowed in Colorado. I can't believe it. I can believe it, but I can't believe it. It's this late into May, and it snowed. And I haven't heard from my wife. I texted her earlier to say, hey, how much snow do we get? So I haven't heard that. That's it. That's all I really want to say. I just want to get this done. I'm thinking, I don't know if I'm hungry or not. I think I'm hungry. I can't tell. I don't know. You know what I will share with you? I'll put this in the show notes as well. When I got to the site yesterday, there were boxes of Tim Hortons. If you're not familiar with Tim Hortons, just think of Dunkin' Donuts, but Canadian. And I love Tim Hortons. Their coffee is just really good coffee. And it reminds me when I talk about people about coffee, I'm not a fan of the major chains. I like Timmy Hortons. I like Waffle House coffee. I do. Matter of fact, I brought some Tim Hortons coffee back home last week, and I'll probably do that again. I'll have to do that tomorrow, maybe today. I don't know. Bring some more Timmy Hortons coffee. Okay. I've bored you to death. I know it. I'm sorry. I apologize. You know what? If you're on the treadmill right now, get ready. We're going to just move along. So here is part 2 of my interview. Oh, no. Haha. I was the guest. Johnny Nomad Presents. And again, this is where the Terry Crews quote really comes into play, because I know Johnny's success is going to be my success, and I know my success with Johnny is going to be his success. I love this guy to death. He is truly a person I want you to know and love and just meet, because he's just, I don't know how else to describe him other than he's just a good guy, and there's nothing wrong with that. So as Terry Crews would say, your success, let's try this again. Your success is my success. Have a great day. Thanks for caring. Thanks for sharing. Peace out.
Warning. You're about to listen to a conversation, not an interview.
With you traveling so much, and constantly connected, because you're trying to do your own thing with your podcast, you're still writing your book as well, right?
Yep.
You're working. What does Tommy's self-care time look like? Or are you developing that for yourself?
So one of my favorite apps is Headspace.
Okay.
Which is a meditation app. And I use it primarily right before I go to bed when I'm on the road, because as I've gotten older, the time differences, time zones have really affected my sleep. And so I use Headspace right before I go to bed, and I use like a 20-minute meditation, probably less than 5 minutes I'm out. Wow. So that's the biggest key for my self-care. I've been really lax lately of journaling, like you were talking about what you do. That's something I need to go back and work on. And I don't say work on, but just go back and do it, because I do enjoy it. It's like, again, like you in writing, I love the writing aspect of it. And there was this job I used to have, talk about cubicle farms, and my routine was I had an hour and a half drive from the house to work. by the time I got to work, I was just like, all right, I need to find some happiness. So I carry with me these little journals, and I'd write down 3 things that I'm grateful for, and that would start my day off at work. And because of that, that would totally change my energy from, oh my God, why am I here, to, all right, let's make this happen. So the meditation is key, journaling. And the other thing, like we talked about earlier, 2 weeks ago, I was in Lexington, Kentucky, and I found behind the hotel this nice little area where I would go and run. And I use an app called Couch to 5K. Couch, so CTF or 5K. So Couch to 5K. I think it's Zen Labs. And I use that to help me, run, walk. So probably those 3 things, meditation, journaling, and just staying active, would be the 3 areas of self-care. You can tie nutrition into that too, but that goes back with the running and making sure that I'm eating better, not crap.
Right. What stops you from not quitting?
Oh gosh. I've taken so many steps back that I'm at the point now where I'm tired of it, that quitting is not possible anymore, if that makes sense.
Sure.
That's why, like this past weekend, I sent you that one Canva design because that's where my mindset has been going. All right, more visual. The one thing I don't like. I know video especially with SEO is so key for any small business, and I don't like putting myself on camera. So if I can find other ways to create video content, that's part of the not quitting, because again, I know, with social media, I know, and I read a lot about social media and as far as what trends, what's good, what's going to help you get out there. So that's part of the not quitting, is just learning something new and not just retaining it, but using it.
No, you're right about that. I think the biggest thing too is making yourself uncomfortable, challenging yourself.
Yes. I think it was Eleanor Roosevelt that said, do something that scares you every day.
Yeah, because I think we don't take enough risks. But then again, if you look at people's lifestyles, if you have a family you have to take care of, you have a good job that pays the bills, you're thinking, man, I don't want to fuck this up. Let me just stay put. But then you're kind of stuck as well in this the standby zone of just waiting for a promotion or a raise that you're never going to get. But you're okay because nothing's like the tide isn't really coming in and out. There's no ripples in the pond. So you know what? It's good. I fuck with it. But when you do that, you don't know what's on the other side of the pond. You don't know what that wave of tide could bring you if it comes in. And I think we need to make ourselves more uncomfortable going forward and challenge ourselves that way and take some risks and fail. Right?
Yeah,
I love to fail.
And that's the thing, as parents, we don't allow our kids to fail enough.
I know for a fact I fucked up on my first kid. So my first kid is trash, right? So, and it's not because that she's a beautiful person, she's amazing, but I never knew how to parent before. That's my first child, right? I would clean all the bottles and everything and get everything sterilized. The second kid, third kid came, thing fell on the floor. I just wiped off my shirt and here you go, his back
right.
Right? But what the bedtime has to be this. Your study time needs to be this. Okay, there's playtime. There's extracurricular activities for this. The first kid is your trial and error, and you tend to most of the times the firstborn tend to be a little kooky. And you want them to be, but again, that's what happens, right? And I think once we decide to take in consideration from others, a lot of people tend to say, "I'm gonna do it on my own. I'm not gonna take no advice." You have to, like with the books you write and then advice you give, right? On especially with blending families. And both of us are in that same dynamic, right? We both have a blended family.
Yep.
And we both have these beautiful, loving bonus children. And we have these wives who are amazing in our lives that gives us everything that we want emotionally and more. And when you describe in your book as far as how the expectation to other people that you don't like to explain to other people about, hey, why should I explain to folks that this is my bonus child? But then you have that conversation anyway with folks because they keep on fucking pushing the issue, right?
Yeah, I'll tell you, the inner battle I have is divorced families, blended families, versus traditional families. And my frustration is that traditional families really don't, and this is where we, and I say we, with your podcast, with the content you put out, we need to educate traditional families as far as what we go through. And what I mean by that is, so for example, there have been times when my son was younger, it would be my weekend, and it turns out he would have a birthday party or a sleepover. And I'm like, fuck that. This is my time. You're taking, that parent, you're taking my time away from me and my son.
Right.
But that's where I had to take a step back and go, it's not about me. This isn't my ego. This is about my son and his happiness. And so especially when it comes to youth sports, and again, traditional families don't see what a lot of blended families go through. So, for example, again, with my son, when they would plan events, for the team, and it would be, my former wife and I would have to figure out, well, who can bring him, or, does he want to go? And traditional families just don't see what goes on behind the scenes with the world of divorce. And the other thing is too, there's me, and there's my wife, and then my wife has to deal with her former spouse. I have to deal with my former spouse. Traditional families don't see that world. And so it's hard not to want to, slap them around a couple of times. But what?
Do you want mac and cheese?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. I want some too.
All right, so Johnny wants some mac and cheese too.
Mac and cheese, steak and salad.
Yes, please.
Yes. Steak, we're having steak too.
Oh, yes, please.
And salad.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Could you, you're going to keep this all in, right?
Absolutely.
So it's after 6. Can you go pour me a glass of wine, please?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Come on, Luke.
So, red.
White.
I don't even drink red. I don't drink white. How long have you known me?
She doesn't know you.
Apparently. I got to tell you. All right, so that was Becca, and she's the Wonder Twin.
Right.
And so at Easter, my other bonus daughter wanted sangria. And so they brought sangria over, and then we bought some frozen fruit for it.
Yeah. Yep.
And so Betsy made the sangria, and she has 2 glasses in her hand of the sangria. She's walking over to the couch, and her boyfriend is at the end, and Tristan, he's 22. Betsy's 21. And so I'm thinking she's handing a glass to Tristan. No, she's handing a glass to Becca. And I look at her, and I look at Betsy, I go, are you serious? She goes, Mom said it was okay. And I go, what are we, French? What are we, European? So anyway, sorry to go off on that tangent. But
no, honestly, listen, I have introduced wine to my children, and my 17-year-old does drink wine.
I think if you educate them about I'm going to do this too, not just the dangers of alcohol.
Correct.
But if you educate them about wine, and I'm going to go on the wine tangent because
let's do it.
Just like you, I love wine, but I love the complexity of wine because when you buy beer, you're buying malt, barley, water, okay?
Yeah.
But with wine, you have to deal with the elements. You have to deal with weather. You have to deal with soil. You have to deal with bugs. You have to deal with the vegetation. There's more to it than
every year that wine tastes different. That's why vintage is it's called vintage for a reason, because if it comes out from 2012 or from 2017, it's going to taste just as if, to your point, the weather, the soil conditions, the lack of rain, how much rain, that changes everything.
You could have a vintage of let's say a 2010, two 2010 bottles, and you open both of them up, you let them breathe for 20 minutes. Those two wines could taste totally different.
Absolutely.
So to your point, as long as you give the kids the education of alcohol, the wine, but at the same time, they understand the consequences of their actions. If they're at a friend's party and, they're under 21 and they're drinking. Oh, speaking of drinking, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Rebecca.
You're welcome, Thomas.
I love her. And you set the protocol to your kids and say, if you ever get in a situation you're not comfortable with, there are no consequences. You call me. You fucking call me, and I am there. So, again, that's parenting 101. And again, if we just talk to our kids and listen to our kids, I think we'd have less problems.
No, I agree with you. Even when I introduced firearms to my kids' lives as well, it was a huge step if they were very young. Coming from New York, you can't really even own a firearm. The laws are ridiculous. Probably one of the strongest and hardest to try to get a weapon. There's no gun stores in New York City that I grew up with. But when I moved to the South, gun culture is very different. That's just part of it. It's just around. So when I found out, it took me longer to choose what weapon I wanted than my background check to go through. And it took me 40 minutes to purchase my first weapon. It took maybe 10 minutes for my background check to go through. And New York, I think it's a 6-month wait. Right? So,
wow.
Yeah. So, and then they would tell me, "Hey, do you have your carrying license?" I say, "No, let's go get your carrying license. I got the paperwork here. Go to the sheriff's office and pay $50 or $70 and get your carrying license, and you can carry it." And then I found out that my car was an extension of my property, so I didn't even need a carrying license, and I can put my car as an extension of my property.
So do you have a gun rack behind you in your car, in your Prius?
I do not drive a goddamn Prius. My goal next year, I am going to purchase a Tesla. I have that on my wallpaper, on my vision board I did for 2019.
I'm a huge fan of Elon Musk. I'm a huge fan of Tesla. But last week there was a video camera in a parking garage. I think it was somewhere in Japan, and a Tesla just suddenly blew up. So I'm a little leery of Teslas right now.
I'm still gonna get one. I have to. I love. No, I'm such a tech head. But to go back real quick, so when I first got my weapons, the first thing I did was to kind of get that air out of of the home that have a weapon with the children, I had them sit there with me and clean the weapon. We took it apart together. They held it. Of course, I made sure that it wasn't loaded.
Right.
Several times before I even brought them into the room, I made sure that it was unloaded, and I put it back together myself again. Took it apart before they came into the room again, and then they assisted me, and I had them hold it to respect it. I think that comes with anything, to your point, even with the alcohol. When you teach them to, it's funny we talk about alcohol right now because I'm an operations director for a nonprofit called Safe Ride America. And we actually give people who are impaired or drunk driving, we give them rides. Mm-hmm. So we pick people up, we take them and their car home. So
take the car home too?
Absolutely.
That's wonderful.
And we drive you in your own car. We have someone as chase driving you behind. So there's two drivers, and you are in your own vehicle being shown back to your home. So your car doesn't have to stay at the hotel or has to stay at the bar or restaurant and get broken into, stolen, or towed, or ticketed, or both, right? And again, responsibility and showing people, especially children, how to be responsible. And wine is, man, it is an alcohol. You can get drunk off of wine, but it's all about in moderation. And when my wife and I do have wine and the kids are here, we give them a glass and say, hey, we're going to have it with dinner. And this is the time they see us have it at that time. Mm-hmm. Probably he's not just popping a fucking bottle at noon, sipping on some wine and watching The View,
drinking some Boone's Farm, watching The View.
Exactly. So again, it's all about your approach. Like I say, even with the gun culture here as well, I had to show them how to be responsible. And to the point, the kids was like, when I bought a new weapon, hey, you want to see it? The kids were like, oh, no, I'm good, Dad. It's another gun. Okay, cool. And I was like, oh, damn, I was more excited than they were. I was like, shit. So,
well, but again, but the good thing is you're educating them and you're giving them also other interests as well. Becca has her own guns at her dad's house. I think one of them is actually like a pink gun. So again, I commend you. At least again, it's all about educating. It's not like you're sitting at home. You come home early from your shift. Yeah. And you're not coming home to a 6-pack, at 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. Again, it's about having that conscious mind. And, again, in our household, we're a blended family. So we do things differently, but that's because we have to, but we make it work. And I'll from time to time will say to my son, if I'm having a beer or a glass of wine, I'll say, do you want to try it? And he'll say, no. I'm like, cool.
Yeah.
But I've also had that conversation with him too, saying if you're ever, at a party or an event, you call me. I don't care if I'm an hour away. You fucking call me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I agree with that. And I'd rather have my kids learn from me what it is to have a glass of wine, to handle a weapon, than their best friend's older brother to give them a beer and say, hey, just fuck up, and not some of the responsibility behind it. You know what I'm saying? That happens all the time. How kids get introduced to things because of friends. And as parents, we tend to be dark. Social media is rough for kids. We didn't have to experience that because we didn't have social media. We had traditional fucking bullies. Yeah. And with social media, instead of getting, with us we had one bully. With social media, you have tens of thousands of bullies.
Yes.
And that's a big difference where you're getting hit hard at one time. And if people pressure you enough, you're gonna follow suit because you want to be in, you want to be cool, you want to be looked upon as part of the group. And those things never change, no matter how. Whatever 20 years from now, what social media may turn into, it may turn into something different, maybe called something different. Obviously, social media, the internet is not called the internet no more. It's called social media now. Right?
Yeah.
So the verbiage, the language will definitely change. And when that happens, behavior will come with it, and they would be amplified like they are now. But the issues, because we're just humans, we're the same creatures, just reproducing, will continue to be the same issues. We're just going to amplify the issues more because of it. Make sense? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you're saying, and you're right, because I remember getting the shit kicked out of me as a kid because I was a smart ass, and that was because I was insecure. Only child, all that garbage, yada yada yada. But you're right, and it is hard being a kid these days because of social media. You post something, you like you said, you're gonna get tens of thousands of people that aren't gonna like that picture you just posted. You're gonna get, oh my God, you're fat. Oh my God, that your hair sucks. I can't believe you look like that. And it's like, why? Why do trolls have to be such fucking dickheads? And it's sad because I don't know, maybe I live in my own little bubble, but I just want everybody to be happy. But I know it's real. I know it's realistic. But at the same time, why? Why do people have to be that way? And it's
because they can hide behind the screen.
Yeah,
they can hide behind their phone.
Exactly.
They're a bunch of punk asses. They will not do that on your face. As soon as you turn your back, that's when they'll go on their phone. They'll fucking tweet some shit in your thread and they're fucking tough as fuck in your thread. But I guarantee you, any given moment you step face to face, they won't do that shit.
There was a girl, I wish I could remember I saw this. And she admits it, she's overweight, but she's trying. God bless her. She is trying. She was, they're showing her in a ballet class, and that girl can move. And so she had posted stuff on social media, and all these haters came out. God bless this girl, and I wish I could remember again who she was, but she reversed engineered it. And when people would send her negative comments, she'd turn around, she'd look at their, let's say it was their Instagram, and she would go, oh my gosh, you have beautiful hair, or I really like that picture you did. And she would just send them positive messages. And you know what happened, Johnny? People started sending, I am sorry. I was a jerk. I didn't mean to be that way. Good for her. Good for her.
That is great.
Reverse it.
That's a fucking fantastic story. And that's how you beat evil, not with evil.
Yes.
Yes. You beat evil by being kind. Again,
it goes back to surrounding yourself with the right people.
Absolutely. I was just about to say that because you have to level yourself up and level your friends up. It's okay to leave some family members behind. It's okay to leave some friends behind. They served a purpose at that moment in time. Instead, they come back to say, hey, you changed. I'm going to say, yes, I have changed. It's unfortunate that you haven't.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Because I had to grow. I had to maneuver and massage my life differently compared to what I was before. And if you can do that and say that to those people, then you're winning every single time. And every day I wake up and I say, I'm winning today. Every day I'm in the mirror saying, damn, you're just a fine looking motherfucker. And you're just wonderful.
Except
no, I am.
Yankee cap, but that's
please, that's my graduation cap right there, buddy. So, and you have to say these things to yourself. You have to big yourself up. You have to build yourself up and talk to yourself. I talked about Lovely caught me this early in the morning. I get home at breakfast in the morning. She caught me laughing hysterically, and I woke her up. And she's like, "Who are you talking to?" I was like, "To myself." And she's like, "Did you fucking lose it?" And I'm like, "No." Like, I am a big fan of myself, and I want to make sure that I stay happy even when I don't have anyone around me. And that's the biggest thing. Everyone has issues. I have issues, family issues, financial issues, you name it. I'm just your average middle-class American that has basic issues. But what I have not let the issues do is take control of me. I have taken control of my issues. I have went ahead and planned on how to take care of those things. And I'm winning every day because of it. And that's why I have the time to
There it is. There it is. I knew. Hold on, where's my camera? I knew you had posted winning, and you know, I didn't like that one. Why didn't I? Now I did.
Because you're a hater.
No, don't. But when you post "we win," that is so key. It's not Johnny wins. It's not I wins. It's we. It is we, and that's
so inclusive, brother. I'm talking to us. I'm talking to all the other people, male, female, who have the same dreams and passion and what's purpose in their fucking life, that want more, that are working tirelessly for their families and that sacrifices and wants to give up everything for the world for them, but that also want more for themselves. Those are the people I'm talking to. The podcast that I'm talking, the conversation I have with folks are your normal average person. I'm not going after the Tim Ferrisses. Would I love to have them on here? Absolutely. I'm not saying I'm not. But the goal of this podcast is to talk to the average Joe, so the average Joe can hear the next person leveling up. You know, we don't get to hear the story when it's beginning. We don't get to hear the story when it's in the middle of his journey. We always hear the story when it's at the end, at the result, when someone's a millionaire and they have the big house and car. When you get to follow someone from that beginning and you can relate to them and say, man, he loves the same team I love. He's getting the same colonoscopy I'm getting, and he's still doing his thing. That means more to someone who is just starting out, who doesn't know how to figure it out yet. And every day you're helping somebody do that, Tommy.
Well, that's why I love listening when you had the other podcast, Johnny, or the Couples Corner.
Yep.
Because it's funny. It was this morning at church, and I started thinking about, because I knew you and I were going to talk today, and I just, in my mind, in my vision, I still see you and your wife. I still see Johnny and Lovely on the Today Show, giving out advice, because I just love listening to the two of you. I love listening, to this podcast, Johnny Nomad Presents, because it's like you said, we can all listen to Tony Robbins. We all can listen to James Altucher and Tim Ferriss and Mark Maron and
Gary Vee,
but
love Gary Vee.
But you're right. That's why, with my podcast, that's why I love finding people that are on the cusp, that are
who's about to take that jump.
Yeah, right? The authors that this is their very first book, and they're getting ready to promote it, and you and I are helping them get to that next level. I mean, I had one guest on, and oh my gosh, her book is just blowing up, and I can say I had her on the podcast.
And that's the best thing for me as well, when I can tell people, you know what, when I speak to these underground hip hop artists and they have some fantastic music, and when they do blow up, I'm going to say that, to your point, yeah, I was able to find them. I was a fan of theirs when they were just coming up. I got to speak to them before they got on all the award shows. I got to find their true self and what they were going through. And I have that forever. It's going to be on the internet or social media forever now. That interview. And it's an amazing thing. It's a concept that I was doing the podcast, and Lovely and I just finished the podcast last week. We actually posted it last week. We actually had our son Jacob on, and he's hilarious from a millennial perspective. We were talking about some politics. We don't talk about politics, but we were compelled to, because it's so dynamic right now, the spread of people just coming up to be president or to be president. And as we continue to grow in our journey, I want people to understand that they're following my journey as well. I'm in the beginning stages, right? I'm just figuring things out just like they are. And my purpose is something that I just found last year that I already had. I just didn't have a proper faith in myself or belief enough that I can go ahead and do it. I doubted myself. And so the podcast, when you listen to different folks talk and speak and they see how they're making things happen, it's really to you to self-reflect and say, hey, if they can do it, then why not? I can't take a chance on myself then.
You know, and this is where I really, again, feel blessed. And that is, and you and I are in a similar situation, and that is we both have awesome wives that remind us that we are, I saw her sneaking by. And can she hear me?
No, she can't hear you.
She can't. Oh, bummer.
Tommy says so. She said hi.
Because we do need to be reminded, Johnny. We do need to be reminded from time to time that, you know what? we were driving to church this morning, and the radio station we were listening to was playing an old replay of Casey Kasem. And one of my other friend, John, does a great Casey Kasem impersonation, and he would always say, keep reaching for the stars and keep your hands out of your pants. And so I said that, and she just looked at me like, you're a fucking idiot. But I am so blessed to have her in my life to remind me from time to time, yes, I'm a fucking idiot, but at the same time, I'm still a good guy. I'm a good dad. You know, I'll hit those rock bottom days where I just, you know, I miss my son, and she'll say, you're a good dad. And so, you know, to your point about building your own faith and confidence, it goes back to you got to surround yourself, and this is to all the listeners out there, you have to surround yourself with good people. You just have to. If you want to succeed in life, you can't be hanging out with dumbasses. You have to have people that are in your corner. But at the same time, and this is where I love our friendship, because there was a time where you were just texting me and you were in my face. I'm like, yeah, I needed this. I needed that motherfucker to tell me the truth. Yeah, he did. And so, again...
How did that make you feel? Let's put it out there.
Are you putting me on the couch?
Absolutely. How did that make you feel, Tommy?
You know
when you
what?
read it, what was your first feeling when you actually read it? Tell me.
I needed my ass kicked. I did need it, because I can specifically remember it was about not doing enough. It was about hemming and hawing, and you're like, just fucking do it. Who cares? And it just goes back to, you know, you can take, you know, the world of social media and incorporate into your life and do A/B testing. So you can try this, and this. If it works, keep doing this and this. If it doesn't, go to plan B and try this, and this. And so things weren't working out for me, and you're like, try something else. I'm like, oh yeah, fuck. Yeah, okay. But it goes back to not men being men. It's about men actually caring about each other.
Absolutely.
And it's about, again, just surround yourself with good fucking people.
But you have to be willing enough to accept that conversation we had.
Oh yeah.
You have to be willing enough to, if you ask that question, are you ready for the answer?
Answer, yes. Exactly.
And if you're not ready for the answer, then fucking ask me a question.
Yeah.
And you know, every time we open ourselves to each other that way, our friendship, our relationship becomes stronger and stronger because those moments in time that we have, and we find you know, new respect for one another. Say, damn, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna hold you to the fire, Tommy. The same way you hold me to the fire. You know, you text me so much information. Like, damn, he didn't have to share that. Fuck, you know, you text me these articles like a week or two ago. You sent me emails. I'm like, damn, I gotta read all this shit. I said, I've got to find the time. And I do. It's like, you know, Tommy's fucking sending it to me. If you didn't care, you wouldn't share.
No, and you're right, because again, it goes back to my vision of you and your wife, and Terry Crews. Your success is my success.
Absolutely.
And I want you and Lovely to be, I want you to be living the life you were meant to live. And I believe in you, and I believe in Lovely, and I believe in your cause, and I believe in anything and everything you do. But again, when it comes to serving each other, here's an example. So the industry I work in the automotive industry.
Right.
And I'm sorry, if you're a car salesman, I don't have a lot of respect for you, and I'm sorry. And it's because of what I've encountered. I've got family that's in the car business, and I don't trust them as far as I can throw them. And
Right.
so, unfortunately, in that world, it's a lying, cheating, stealing world.
Right.
So if you come from that world, unfortunately, it's a no-win situation. So they don't share a lot of information in that world, including my coworkers, because a lot of my coworkers have come from that world.
Right.
So they're like, if you don't know it, fuck you.
Yeah.
So I'm in the mindset, if I see something that I know it's going to help, not just you, Johnny, but my other friends, I'm going to send that information, because if it's one little nugget, I have a friend who she actually started off as a friend, became a coaching client, and is still a friend. And on Instagram, she was saying hello from New York City. I said, "Oh my gosh, you got that speaking gig?" She goes, "No, they didn't select me." And I said, "Oh, that's too bad, but keep plugging along." And she said, "I'm way better than 2/3 of the speakers here." I said, "Here's what you do. When you come back to Colorado, do some lunch and learns. Keep building. Keep moving forward."
Absolutely.
They were on that stage because somebody picked them. You didn't get picked. Oh, well. But don't dwell on it. Keep moving forward. So I will not be of service if I don't share information. So when I find information, I have to share it. I just have to, because I want other people to be successful.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you care that much, that karma, that good energy you're putting out there is going to come back to you. The universe is going to open up and just pour greatness on top of me. And as it is, everything that I believe that I'm going through, that you're going through, is part of the journey. It's part of the process. And yes, we have our goals. And I tell folks the goal is great to have, because you're going to have some place to go to. But once you hit that goal, once you hit that summit, then what? What is your next journey after that? And you have to keep yourself going. I'm in love so much with the process now.
Yes.
I'm infatuated with the process. It gives me the energy. And when I'm setting my goals and things happen, and I'm like, shit, this is fantastic, I don't question it anymore. And in the beginning, I did. Like, oh shit, it worked. Or why is it working? Is it because of this? Like, no, it's fucking because of me. I'm putting the fucking time in. I'm putting all the work in. I'm fucking grinding every fucking day, all day long. You know, you saw Lovely sneak by.
Yeah.
The respect she has because I'm having a podcast, you know what I'm saying, is huge. The family, there's 7 of us that live here. You don't hear people. When they know Dad is on the podcast, this is for the better of our family going forward. This is the future that we're going to produce something together from. And that's where you have to grind every fucking day. And I'm lucky enough to have a person, my partner, that believes in me, that believes in the vision, and I reciprocate that back to her as well.
Yes, and that's key.
Absolutely. And that's where people have to understand that when you tell your friends and family about your passion and how you're going to quit your job or you're going to go after the thing you always want to be, and they don't understand it, that's okay. They're supposed to understand it. It's not their vision. It's not their dream. Okay? They're going to doubt you. That's okay. They're supposed to, because it's a test for you to move forward. If you don't have those doubters up front and you fall to them, then it wasn't meant to be for you to go move forward then. But if you go ahead and move forward anyway with those doubters, with those close people right behind you doubting you, and you can separate yourself and continue moving forward, then you fucking really won the game. And then they become your fans because now you're successful. All of a sudden, I knew you can do it. I always thought you had something about you, right? That shit always fucking comes up.
Yeah. Oh, I believe it. I knew you were going to do it. Yeah, sure. I was in your corner the whole time.
Yeah.
It
happens.
You weren't.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's what I think, with what we're doing, how our partnership is. It's amazing. I wouldn't trade our friendship for the world. I love how we met. We met on social media.
Yeah. But see, that's the thing. And I learned this from, I'm going to call him a mentor. His name is Kevin Knievel. And you'd find him mostly on LinkedIn, because he is a international speaker on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. And Kevin taught me that. He taught me, it's great to go, on the phone and like somebody's Instagram or Twitter or even on LinkedIn, but it's taking it to the next step. It's reaching out to those people. I know it was on Instagram. Somehow on Instagram we found each other.
Right.
But at the same time, I don't know who did what, and I don't give a fuck, because this is where we're at now.
Yeah.
We have this connection, and to allow your listeners, we have yet to physically meet.
Right.
But it's like you said earlier, we've been on phone calls 2 hours. We've been doing this podcast for 2 hours. But these are the things that you build off of social media. It's not just liking somebody's picture. It's keep moving forward, moving the conversation forward. It's liking it, maybe commenting it, DMing it, and then from there, let's have a real phone conversation. Are you in my area? Yeah, let's have coffee.
Right.
So I think that's a problem in my view, is that people, like you were saying earlier, hide behind their phones. They hide behind the social media versus taking a step further and building a connection and building a lifelong connection, which I know we have.
Yeah, we do. And the other biggest thing people have to learn as well is that they have to get out of their own way.
Yes.
And they can't be afraid of success. There's a lot of people that see the success coming, or they see a glimpse of it, and they get shocked. And then they say, damn, I'm not ready. Yes, the fuck you are. When I started the podcast, I was talking to myself. All right? And I needed a guest. I was like, I gotta get me a fucking guest. What I did was, I'm going through Instagram. I'm just scrolling and saying, I need a guest. Not even thinking that the very app that I'm using right now has millions of people on it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why? And then it dawned on me, dude, just DM somebody. Slide into their fucking DM and say, hey, come on my podcast. But first I had to make sure that I vetted them and that I had a genuine interest of them. So everybody I interview, I've been a follower for some time, and I've watched that person grow. And so, you know what? Yeah, I dig you. I could fuck with you. Let's put you on the podcast. And when I did that, and the person said yes, I was like, oh shit, I wasn't expecting to get yes.
Yeah.
And I didn't have no way to record them because they were across the country. I said, how the fuck am I gonna record them? I had 1 week to figure that shit out. I figured it out within 2 days, how to make that shit happen. When your back is against the wall, in any condition, you're gonna figure that shit out. You have no choice to. Put your back against the wall and see how you will figure things out and become that MacGyver that you need to be, where you can make something out of a fucking can and a fucking pocket knife.
Well,
and it will work.
I look at Reid Hoffman, who created LinkedIn. He talks about what does it mean to be an entrepreneur. And he says it's like jumping off a cliff and then building an airplane. So, like you said, you had 2 days to figure that out. Well, you figured it out. It's funny because there's a lot of things when it comes to we'll stay in the podcast space. There are a lot of things in the podcast space that it's still new, and you still have to figure things out. And so it's like it's fun. It's fun to figure out and go, oh my God, this worked. Oh my God, this worked. I was able to record this guest and edit this and do that. It's like, wow. And then when you do have those failures, you go, all right, what did I learn? How do I fix this next time? So, I agree. I just totally agree with.
I've been really lucky that the fact that when I interview guests, they recommend somebody else, and they're like, hey, I love your podcast, man. This person has a great story, and I talk to that person. I send them an email, hey, let me get some more information. We're chatting a little more. No, yeah, the story is valid. Let's put you on. Let's have these people really listen to your story. And it's funny because this is my education for me. I don't have a university degree. I have an 8th grade education.
University of Hard Knocks.
Yeah, that's it. And I dropped out of high school within 2 months of going to high school. And everything I am self-taught. And for me now to be an operations director of a nonprofit, that's huge.
Right.
I commend myself. Like, wow, you really came a long fucking way from the projects of Brooklyn, right? And not to just toot my own horn, but you know what? Sometimes you have to realize where you came from and look at where you're at right now and see how you made it happen. And now that my second half of my life, my goal is to, yes, be that entrepreneur that I know that I can be, because I ran everybody else's fucking business. I can run my own business now. and say, hey, let's find a way how to make that income change to where it's you trading your time for money to where now you're creating for money. And that's what the podcast is. That's what the books are. That's what the YouTube channel is. I'm creating for money now. And having the sponsor already with Anchor is huge. So things are working. Things are coming along. Are they slow? Is it taking time? Sure the fuck yeah it is. But I'm gonna be that overnight success within 5 years. You know what I'm saying? It takes time to build it, and you have to understand that. But you have to always just looking back and say, hey, where was I last year? Last year I had put out podcasts, and the only person listening to it was only me and you. I would have 2 fucking listens all the time. And I was like, that's me. The other one is not even my fucking wife. It's Tommy. My wife was not even fucking listening to me.
Well, I mean, as you were just saying, I mean, life's a marathon. It's not a sprint.
Yeah.
And so there are times where we do have to take a step back and go, all right, this isn't happening as fast as I want it, but that's okay. It's like you were saying, it's the process.
The process.
The process is fun. The process is fun. Yeah.
Look where I get to. It's my day off. It's your day off. What are we doing right now?
Yeah.
We're so driven to do this podcast. We're so driven to do the things that we're doing that yes, it's going to tap into some times that you have to be off. Like, I rescheduled with you because I had to spend time with the wife. She got us some tickets. I was like, hey.
Oh, hold on. Let's reverse that one. What did you do today?
I went to go to the movies.
What movie?
The Avengers.
Yeah. And did I tell you? The ship sank.
Yeah, you did. I knew it sank. I still had to see it anyway. But it was mainly about me and Lovely spending time. And after the movies, we went to a couple other stores around the whole strip mall. Just walking around, chit-chatting. Just us time.
Yeah.
And it was fun just us not having the kids around. Just me and her looking around at stuff. She went to a store that she likes that I had to tag along with.
Right.
I went to a store that I liked that she tagged along with. It's called compromise, people. Learn it and apply it. And it was a blast. And then, of course, I said, hey, babe, I have a podcast at 7 on me. And she said, I got you. And I have a podcast that I'm releasing tomorrow. So that all that stuff is already done. So I got to release the podcast tomorrow and I have to edit another podcast tomorrow for the next week.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I only have one more day left, so I have Sundays and Mondays. So I got to spend time with the family, work out the podcast, make sure I communicate with the actual guests. And you have to do that. You have to make it work. You have to be consistent. You have to be on point. I had to get there. It didn't start like that. There was times that I failed at my communication with people. There was times that my work overtake my passion. Sometimes my passion overtook my work. And I had to find a true divide and say, hey, if I'm at work, if I had dead time, let me make sure all my work is done first. So
Right.
I'm not behind. So I'm not behind at work. And if I do still have some free time at the end of that, then guess what? I'm gonna sneak in some passion time and work on my passion projects. And that's what's going on now. And I think that's for the both of us. And as you hold me to the fire and you give me advice, you send me these types of links of information that I may not even think of tapping into, or information I may not have, I'm truly appreciative of that, because I need that. We all need that. You're always constantly being there for me 100% of the time. And as we continue to build together, man, we're going to win so big next year, dude. You need to be fucking ready. Like, you just need to be ready. We're going to win together.
Well, I look at it this way too, Johnny, and that is, and this has taken me many years to really have an understanding. And I don't even think understanding is the right word. But I have really been building my muscle of faith. And so I honestly believe that God will find people for you that you need to connect with.
Sure.
And so that's how I look at it with our relationship, Johnny, is that we were meant somehow to connect. I look at my relationship with my wife. I mean, my wife is from upstate New York. She was married for many years. Her and her former husband went from New York and ended up in Colorado. I happened to just be at an event that I met this guy who's now one of my dearest friends, Zach. I had met him one day. He heard about my passion of trying to, at that time, be a professional speaker. I want to write a book, and those things have happened. And he said, well, you need to meet me tomorrow at this event. And it's at this time, at this place. I'm like, dude, okay. All right. And because of that interaction with him, I end up meeting my wife. So, yes, God works in mysterious ways. If you believe or not believe, that's fine. But again, I look at our relationship, Johnny, and that is, there was a reason Instagram was created. And I think it was created for people that understood it's not just about, hey, I like your post. It's doing what you and I are doing.
Yeah.
Going back to what you were saying, it's a Sunday. You're not getting paid for this podcast. I'm not getting paid for this podcast. Again, this is our passion project until somebody says, oh my God, Johnny, I love Johnny Nomad Presents. I love Couples Corner. I love blending the family. We need to do something on a bigger scale.
Correct.
So I love, years ago I heard an interview with Tim Ferriss, and he says, it just takes one. In our situation, it takes that one podcast to get us to the next level. It takes that one blog post. It takes that next book. It takes that next YouTube video episode. It just takes one. That's all it is. And then you become that 5-year overnight success.
Absolutely. I totally agree with that. And that's what people have to understand and take the time with. As you continue to grow, as you continue to go on your journey, and you talked about how you're not quitting and you continue just reevaluating situations, you know, how can you encourage someone not to
quit?
Yeah.
That's a good question. So, Noah Kagan. Noah Kagan has a wonderful podcast, and he was interviewing Alan Weiss, who's written the books Millionaire Coaching, Millionaire Consulting, a bunch of other books. And Alan Weiss hit it on the head, and that is, you go see, let's say, everybody knows Tony Robbins. So you go see Tony Robbins, you get inspired, you're jumping around, you've got that energy, and you're there for 2 days, 3 days, and you walk out and it's over.
Mm-hmm.
You have to inspire yourself.
You do.
So to say to somebody, don't quit, the onus is back on them. But again, I think it's the theme of this episode for you and your listeners, and that is, you got to surround yourself with the right people.
Yeah.
So if I said to you, Johnny, I go, you know what? I looked at my numbers. I only had 500 downloads for this month. It's not going anywhere. I'm not getting any big name guests. I know you would say to me,
dude,
shut
you
the
just shut the fuck up. You just had 500 downloads.
Exactly.
Are you kidding me? And then that's how I spin it to you. Now,
Yes.
Let's get 501.
Yeah.
Why can't we get 501 for next month?
Yeah.
And then win again. And so you have to celebrate every small win. That's what
Yes.
people don't do enough of. They don't celebrate enough wins. You know, set up your milestones, you know what I'm saying? Because listen, you talked about inspiration. You have that energy in the beginning when you're inspired. You know, you have your New Year's resolutions. People are motivated. Motivation is very temporary, just like adrenaline. Adrenaline is a shot. If you're in a tough situation, you're either going to fight or you're going to run, right? And motivation is the same thing. It's going to get you started at that first bolt of energy you're going to get. Now you have to develop what they call drive, determination.
Yep.
That's what's going to carry you on through the process to when the days are just another day of, okay, I got another podcast out this week, another one next week. I keep on going. And you're saying, damn, the results are not there yet. Because you're not supposed to. You're building the results slowly. It's a slow fucking build, right? So you start off with that foundation first. Then you start the framework. You still don't have a house yet. It's just a framework of a house. You have to keep on going until the very last fucking shingle is on. The last fucking crown molding is in. Then that's when you should see, when you look back and you step back, holy shit, look what the fuck I just built. And then you're going to notice how your audience has grown. Again, it has to be active, people. Don't go just to have 100,000 followers. You know, make sure you have 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 active folks. You'll wind up making more money than the person who has 100,000 followers. Because those who are active, they're following you, they believe in you.
So you asked me earlier about not quitting.
Yep.
I did quit something last year. I quit Facebook. And it's funny, even though Facebook owns Instagram, Zuckerberg didn't create Instagram. So that's why I'm a fan of Instagram.
Right.
But I used to write a column for the Good Men Project. And there was one piece that I was so proud of. And so I shared it in one of the groups, one of the dad groups. And like I said, I worked hard on that piece, and I was like so happy with it. And I did get a few good responses back. So I posted on Facebook. The very first comment was I had a comma in the wrong place. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? That's what you got out of it?
Right.
And so what I did was I went in and I removed that article. I was so mad. And I shouldn't have done that. What I should have done and said, hey, thank you for, showing me I needed to, move that to a different place or remove it. But it goes back to, a few things that you've said, and that's where, when the trolls do come out, that's okay. It's a live and learn experience. So at that point, I was like you said earlier, you were talking about, being a bad writer and sucking and all that. And I'm just like, wow, I'm really horrible. I suck. And so that's where you can't quit, and you can't let other people designate your ability to quit or not quit. You really do need to be selfish and do it for yourself. And one of the things I love when people talk about writing is you write for yourself.
You do.
And that's why, I'll put things out, and I'll get either a text, a call, or an email from my dad, who I love to death, and and I respect him. And he'll say, hey, you might have wanted to word it this way, or you might have wanted to use this word, or what have you. And I'll sit back, and instead of being heartbroken, here's my dad taking the time and analyzing it and going, it could be better. Here's how you make it better. And so because of my relationship with my dad now, I don't want to quit, because I don't give a fuck if somebody writes something about whatever I put out there and says, oh, that sucked. Okay. Thank you for letting me know. Thank you for taking more time. I'm going to move on. Guess what? I've got more content to write, and then I'm going to put out there, and you might like it. You might not. I don't give a fuck. It's not about you.
Exactly. And that's what people have to understand, too. You read those comments, you begin to fuck with the core of who you are, and you don't want to do that, because at that point, that's when you really lose yourself. And that's when quitting, the thought of quitting comes in. Mm-hmm. That's when self-doubt takes in place, or the insecurities come up again, anxiety, and you have to ensure that fuck the comments. Respond to the positive people. Respond to your audience. Engage with your audience.
Or turn off the comments. Just
turn off the comments, yeah. Turn them off, and that's it. Just keep it moving. There's so many different ways you can just go by doing things. You have to find that lane for yourself. But, man, Tommy, is the mac and cheese and steak ready yet?
I think so. I heard plates moving, so I think dinner is ready. So
I'm not going to hold you up anymore, because you need to go eat that damn mac and steak. You need to take a picture of that shit and send it to me.
Here's the funny thing. My wife 2 weeks ago had made mac and cheese with leftover ham, broccoli, carrots. There was actually beans in there. I'm like, who the fuck puts beans in mac and cheese? But I'm slowly getting my appetite back. I'm like, all right. And then it just occurred to me what you were just saying is that, hey, dinner's ready, mac and cheese. I just had mac and cheese for fucking lunch.
You got fucking leftovers, dude.
But I'm an 8-year-old boy mentally. I'm like, all right, mac and cheese. I'm fine with that.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's edible. I'm going to eat it.
Yeah. Hell yeah. And plus, my glass is empty.
Brother, you're amazing. You're my brother from another mother. I fucking love you to death, man. You mean the world.
And I'm going to say this, and I love you, and I am looking, it was funny. I was thinking about you last night, and your listeners are going to get really grossed out. I was in the tub last night.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, and I was thinking of you, and I was like, you know what? I know I have plenty of miles. I just need to go to fucking Atlanta.
You do.
And just, hang out with my homie and just fucking do it. So I'm putting it out there that before this year is over, I'm coming to Atlanta.
That's fantastic.
We're going to hang out together.
We are. We're going to record it. We'll vlog it. And we'll use that also as a podcast piece.
A day in life with Johnny and Tommy.
That's it. And then I'll go to Colorado, and we'll have a blast there.
Okay.
That's what we need to do. That sounds great.
Exactly.
I'm gonna hold you to that shit. So
it's going to happen.
It better happen. Absolutely. Oh man, that's so lovely. You shouldn't be excited.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Oh, dude, that makes me happy.
Good.
Brother, thank you so much for coming on to Johnny Nomad Presents. And guys, Johnny Nomad Presents Tommy Maloney. Thank you, sir.
Please love Johnny Nomad Presents. Share his podcast. It's awesome. And oh my gosh, I'm so blessed to know you.
I'm blessed to know you, brother. Go enjoy your family, man. I appreciate
it.
Peace.
Thank you for listening to Blending the Family, the podcast. We hope while the little kid kicking your seat behind you while flying across the country was less painful than listening to Tommy. Wait. Please leave a rating and review, however you get this podcast, whether it's through the mail or from your neighbor or listening in under the couch. I don't know. You tell me.